Hey, check it out. So I've started a new art piece here that I'm drawing, and I thought I'd share with you the process because I know there's a lot of people out there that are getting into art, learning to draw and that sort of thing. And since I'm trying something different here, I thought I'd kind of share it, and it might help other people understand the process, understand what to expect in their own drawings and things like that. Why it might be difficult, because when you begin, you don't know what to expect, and when you're trying to do something that you haven't done before, you kind of feel like everything's being forced because it may not uh, be turning out exactly how you want it to. So let's get into that. As you can see here, I just have a piece of paper that I've started drawing on with a pencil, and then I've gone back over it with an ink pen because I plan to scan it into my computer using a scanner, and then cleaning it up further on my computer. As you can see, I'm using a reference here, an image that I found online, and it has a lot of plants in it. It also has a table and chairs, but as you can see over here, I've removed the table and chairs because I can do that. I can decide how my drawing's gonna be. So I decided just to ignore that aspect and just focus on the other stuff. And so through this process, I'll end up drawing a lot of leaves and plants, and that'll kind of make me better at drawing those things because I'll draw them over and over again. Your mind kind of adapts to the situation. If you haven't drawn something, you may not be sure how to draw it. And that's why we use references. That's why we look at different images, so that we could see, how it's shaped, what sort of details are there, how the light interacts with it to create shadows and that sort of stuff. And then we kind of take that information into our minds and interpret it and then redraw it on the page, in the best way that we can. And when you do that over and over again, it kind of imprints this pattern, right? You recognize certain patterns, certain things that keep repeating or keep showing up, or that sort of stuff. You recognize the similarities between one leaf and another leaf and how it changes, the differences based on how it's positioned and that sort of thing. You kind of learn these things, become aware of those things, those details, just by observing them, okay? And also by drawing them. So, through the process of just exercising your drawing skills, it makes it more efficient, okay? So in the beginning, if you haven't drawn that much, of course it's going to be difficult. So just knowing that by doing it more, it becomes easier, that should encourage you to do more of it and not be so concerned about the result, okay? In this case, I'm not that concerned about the result, and I think that's important to keep in mind when you're starting out, is you shouldn't care too much about the result. Just focus on enjoying the process and enjoying doing it, okay? So I plan to draw a lot of these things. I feel like I want to create a bunch of like posters or something like that with a similar theme to it. So I'll probably end up drawing a lot of these sunroom, greenhouse sort of scenes with the plants and stuff. And as I've after drawing maybe 2 or 3, the patterns will become ingrained in my mind, and I won't have to think too much about it. I might even be able to just draw stuff without using a reference. I'll probably come to a point where I'll be able to do that because I'll have created this catalog of knowledge inside my mind, this repertoire of shapes and composition of leaves and things like that. It'll just become familiar to me, and I'll be able to recreate it through my imagination. So but in the beginning, you can't really do that because your mind hasn't had the time to adapt to it, okay? So Otherwise, or what else am I doing? I'm also using something new that I'm trying this time is I've gotten this DLP projector off of eBay for a cheap price. It works pretty good. I did a lot of research trying to figure out the best thing to get, like the throw distance and that sort of stuff. And so I mounted it up here and projected it down on a piece of paper, and that just helped me speed up the process, so I wouldn't have to, so that it wouldn't be as tedious measuring out everything as I draw it. So I just kind of sketched over the projected image, the main shapes, to get everything laid out. As you can see, it's very sketchy and rough. So it's not like I'm not using it to create the results. I'm just using it as an aid to kind of help me with the process, basically. Okay, it's just a way of helping lay everything out on the page. Some people might feel like tracing stuff is cheating, or it prevents you from learning more or improving your skills. But if you think it's that easy, right? If you think it's that easy, it's not. There's a lot more to it than that, right? Like, tracing isn't going to undermine your ability to get better, because there's so much involved with observation and that sort of thing. You'll just use it in a different way, basically, or not in a different way, but there's just so many places and things to acquire or exercise your mind, right? I don't know. So yeah, we have the pencil sketched in. It's very rough, and then we go back in with the ink pen and kind of refine it further. We start looking at the reference and checking all where stuff align, and going back and forth as we ink things in. And then when I have it all inked in, it'll be ready to scan in, and I'll just put it in here, scan it, and then it'll come up on the computer. I'll be able to refine it even more, tweak certain details that I don't like, change things that I don't like, make it in better. So there's this layering effect to the process towards whatever goal that we have. So it's rough at the beginning. Even in every single piece of artwork that you create, it's rough and unorganized in the beginning. That's why some people create a lot of thumbnail sketches of concepts and then decide on one and then take it, improve it, add more to it, take it to the next level. So we're doing this process at all stages, in all aspects of our life, inside our minds, as we're learning to draw. Our ability and skills may be very unrefined and rough around the edges. That's why people are very sketchy with their lines when they're learning to draw, because they don't know how to make it more precise, right? They haven't instilled the patterns in their mind. They don't know what looks better or worse and that sort of thing. So hopefully this helps you understand some things about your art, why it might be difficult, why you're maybe frustrated and that sort of thing. It might be because you're focusing too much on the results. You're expecting something more than you should. Like in the beginning, you shouldn't really expect too much as you're learning, because you haven't exercised things enough to, do more. It's like exercising a muscle. In the beginning, it's not as strong, and you exercise it more and more, it becomes stronger. If you don't exercise it, it becomes weaker and that sort of thing. So if you're just starting out exercising, you shouldn't expect to lift a whole bunch of weight, right? You have to work up to it, okay? And that's what everything's doing. Even when, plants grow outside, it starts small with a seed and it grows bigger and bigger, right? It doesn't just instantly happen. There's like this time to it, this process, right, of growth, okay? Same thing with your mind. It has to adapt to the situation. Maybe your situation doesn't encourage it to grow, just like a seed it has to have certain variables, certain things in place to allow it to grow well. Like it has to be in soil so that it has roots that it could plant and then absorb nutrients, right? So maybe there might be other things in your life affecting your growth and affecting your ability to improve. You might have people distracting you, that sort of thing. The weather, the pressures around you. It might be have like a trepid atmosphere around you, making it difficult to focus all your energy on your work and that sort of stuff. So there could be all sorts of variables involved as to why it might be difficult for you to draw or improve your artwork and that sort of thing. So you could see, hopefully, these sort of patterns in your own life and kind of become more aware of it. That way you can deal with it better and grasp it, okay? And take it in the direction that you want to take it, okay? Not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily matter as to like the goal or the result, but just the fact that you'll be able to control it or the way that you're going, no matter where you end up, basically, if that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, hopefully that helps you in some way. And if you have any questions, just let me know and I could explain further, okay? Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment. These things will help convince YouTube to push this channel. If you'd like to support us in other ways, you can make a donation at our Patreon page by going to tracingmasterpieces.com/support for more information. I'd like to thank a returning supporter. This is Abusive for the $20 contribution. I'd also like to thank Zarknark for their $10 contributions. And I'd also like to thank my $5 contributors as well. And lastly, if you'd like to join our Discord server, you can go to tracingmasterpieces.com/discord.